Do I have a story to tell you? Okay. Hi everyone, I'm technically a published author, but I'm an author who wants to publish a novel, like kind of the fantasy, sci-fi, what other descriptors I use? Ooh, two POV, there we go. YA-ish, we're going to see middle grade YA, I'm not really sure the difference really at this point, but it's all bleeding together currently, but we've got some important stuff to talk about. Okay. I play video games. Oh! That's crazy. He plays video games. But when it comes to playing video games, I also don't have as much disposable income as I would like. Of course, if this blows up, then I'd be swimming in disposable income and I'd buy games for £70, I'd buy 10 new PCs, but we're not in that position. So, what do? We look for deals. Now, only recently did I find out about Game Keys and what they did. But Game Keys help you get games for a lot cheaper than you might only get them for. So I'm just having a good day, running around, writing a bit of the novel here, kind of vibing, doing some extra work as well, trying to work out how to use a particular music platform online. And I go and I look on the game corner of the browser, right? And I see a game for 98% off. 98% off. 98% off. What would I do if I had 98% off on other stuff? If bus tickets were 98% off. If food was 98% off. If bills were 98% off. If, very specifically, if all of Brandon Sanderson's novels were 98% off, we would be in a very different position in life. But no, I find the game. And here's the figure, folks. 29 pence. When in your life, in the last 20 years, have you got something for 29 pence? That's high quality. 29 pence. I know this is a writing talk channel, and I'll get to writing very soon. I'll talk about all the story writing, etc. Wonderful, great. But 29 pence. Oh, I'm gonna write a short story on that. That is the deal of a lifetime. You don't get something like that ever at all. You don't get something like that. But now, I'm living in a world where I got a game for 29 pence and it's good. So we had to double down. Could I find another game for under £1? The answer is yes. Yes, I could. Another miracle occurred. A farming game for 89p. 89p. Okay. Let's begin the writing talk now. 89p. My goodness. 25 hours clocked already. Wow. Okay, let's talk writer stuff now. The boring stuff. So, 19,389 as of last night. That feels good, and we're in a very fun scene. I've honestly been thinking about this scene for months, because it's the point where the plot finally kicks into overdrive, because it's kind of in a bit of a slow part, even though there was action going on. But basically, big monster attacks the city. And by big, I mean Empire State Building big. And obviously our young and fair heroes cannot deal with that in any capacity. So, Deus Ex Machina. I'm not actually sure. I'm sure there's a name for the plot device in which your Gandalf-like figure takes over, takes the reins and does the thing. Are they gonna die? Are they gonna live? Well, I guess you'll have to find out in 2 years' time when it gets published or something. Ooh. Should I read out an extract? That's actually a good question. Let me see if I can find a fun little extract to read out, just to make sure that you guys can enjoy yourselves. I'll put on my posh voice as well. Ooh, also read the intro. Okay, prologue for you. A slow exhale is released as crimson-coloured gates rise. Once again, blood will fall as an elixir for the earth beneath the swallow. Not that it mattered to anyone, save the two that would spill it. Expelling all fear, nerves, and any semblance of sympathy within him. He took his first step into the arms of death. He saw the one he would have to fight at the other end. He'd known him, befriended him, protected him. Now, though, he would have to be the one that stole the breath of life within him. Swiftly, he prayed. The bell rang, dull and lifeless, despite its sonorous nature, while the two of them began to pummel one another, remorse hidden behind rage of sorrow. But before the cipher of death could fall upon either boy's head, who would have thought boys, imagine that, chaos erupted. They had to have been on fire, the whole lot of them. They screamed as though they were fated for crucifixion. Maybe they were. Lifting his eyes, he was graced by an archon of destruction. A bestial thing he was. Long, ragged hair, matted and dirty, but almost regal in the way he held it. He was an inferno, causing havoc everywhere he went, tearing this den of iniquity to shreds. Fists like meteors, kicks like comets, he was simply beyond comprehension. But in the midst of it all, something fell from the heavens. A colossal hammer, larger than life itself, ready to break apart all that dared stand before it. One that would squeeze out the vitality of its foes as thoroughly as a wine press. The man, no, that creature, stretched his arm forth to take what was rightfully his. And he did so, raising it high into the sky. When it fell, the world shattered, breaking piece by piece into the beauteous pandemonium that he orchestrated as men took flight in any way they could to preserve their lives. Then, the eyes locked. And he was there in front of him. A wildfire had come to grant him the mercy of the end. A hand descended to ruffle his hair. And that's the prologue, folks. No more spoilers. There we go. That was a bit longer than I expected, but that's the prologue of my book. So it's going to change a lot, but that's how it is in drafts. 0, 1, -1, -17. Who knows what the draft numbers are these days, but this is it. Anyway, it's obviously been fun writing that currently. And I also wrote 2 new short stories, actually. One of which I think is actually cooler than the world I'm writing now. I think the lore is actually cooler than the world I'm writing now. But it means I can write it later with better skills. So it does a balance. But the one thing I wanted to talk about today, writing-wise, was killing your darlings. Something is about to happen in my story that is going to cause some characters pain. And on top of that, some things have happened to my characters that have caused them pain. Now, maybe at the start of the writing process, you can easily disassociate from your characters in the first place. You can say that, they're just constructs of my own imagination that I use to tell a greater story. But when you've been writing them for 6 months plus, and they become alive to you in some capacity, it becomes harder and harder to just let them go. Especially if they need to disappear. Die, even. Killing your darling is one of the most terrifying and one of the most important things to do as a writer. Because, to be frank, it was given unto man once to die. And even if it isn't death, like, you're going to go through stuff in life in the first place. So, they need to go through some trials and tribulations as much as they want them to just have a happy, go lucky future. Like, if I could solve all the stuff like with some like Yu-Gi-Oh! Power of friendship, sure, mate. But sadly, I didn't really put that in the rules of the swirls because I thought the power of friendship would be a bit too OP. So therefore, I kind of had to like think of other ways they could combat their different situations. As I walk around now, I remember a conversation I had with another writer. She writes great poems, and I was thinking to myself, okay, should I or should I not begin to cut away the chaff, so to speak? And she was all like, kill him, let him die, innit? Because it's good for the plot, good for the drama, etc, etc. I don't want to, but like, she's kind of right. The question is this the right time to let them go? Because I'm not really sure there's enough substance behind it in the scene that I'm currently writing. But at the same time, unexpected deaths are all the more painful, aren't they? Like, if you're going up to some great and marvellous combative scene, I mean, we know that there's going to be consequences, really. But if it's something more chaotic and random, everything was okay for all this time, and then now the life that was meant to be just blooming is crushed and it withers away. That's right, I talk for you right there. Should I let this cherry blossom wilter away? Wither. The things you do to try to be posh as a writer. Here I am, considering this now. There shall be consequences, there shall be trauma, there shall be pain, but I think they've got a little bit of spark left in them. I'll keep them alive for now. Regardless though, when it comes to like writing, killing your darlings also means that like letting go of ideas you've had, for better ones and greater ones, and being able to like let your story be formed not only by like its own momentum, but also be formed from criticism and praise and to enhance certain aspects. More recently, one of the short stories that I wrote, I read it out to someone, right? And it got butchered. It got absolutely butchered. Like, on the level where, like, I think my face was physically searing pain as it was getting torn piece by piece. But at the same time, if you don't have that, how can it improve? Because now it went from a 1186 draft to almost 2k words, and it's currently submitted to someone, which is great. And that transformation is only because I was able to let go of ideas I once had. It's hard, but for the story, it's worth it. Thank you very much. I bow out, and I bow out with only, what's 29 plus 89? Big bets, 30, 90. With only £1.18 spent. Kind of ish, maybe. I don't know. I've got a lot of reading to do. Bye bye.